And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and wherever you are. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your sensei, I'm Bob, your bro, and your griot to tell you a story. Right? So, what's going on? Yeah. Um, who you gonna trust? You know? Mm, brunch. Brunch. Mm. Yeah. All of you snowflakes out there. Folks with infantile beliefs. The children, not the sweet children, not the innocent children who have an open mind, but those who are scared, those who only want to hide in the shadow of their ego. Like they're right, everybody else is wrong. Hmm? No, I don't think you should go move on, right? Well, what can I say? But it's very interesting that there's no one here. You know, those few that come back and watch the show, come on, thumbs up, come on, subscribe, come on, hit that bell. Really, come on, send some money to my PayPal. Get a hold of me at the dudewake42 at gmail. Right? Come. I, your Sensei Al Bob, yeah. I'm not here. What do I concentrate? Don't believe a word I say. Right? You need to check these things out for yourself. Well, you're being hacked. War in Ukraine, red flag. I mean, everything is scripted. We are being controlled and have been controlled since Babylon by a unipolar power structure that is transnational. There is no nation states. These are illusions to keep the people in them housed, siloed. I hate those people. Well, let's go to war. Look at Ukraine and Russia. They are basically brothers. They have the same culture, same neck of the woods. They have the same great gift of being in one of the most fertile places in the world, some of the most largest quantities of resources. And instead of using that to create an economic structure, which socialism was supposed to be, but wasn't, because socialism of the Russian Soviet Union, USSR, was basically where people, USSR was where government controlled the capital. United States and democracies, capitalist democracies, where capital controls the government. Right? And a good example is, the changing of the guard from Boris Johnson to this girl. Who knows who she is? And so at every moment of the day, it's the same as it ever was. We are stuck in what I call, the tomorrow and the tomorrow and the tomorrow. And I didn't coin that phrase; Shakespeare did. And so I said some interesting things this morning. I read some of my novel, and here I am at one of my yummy spots that has pretty good Wi-Fi. So I'm touching base with you guys because I don't know next time I will. And I used to get at least 8 people to watch, for every show I did, right? And now, I guess, people just want to be lulled by their fear instead of embracing loves co-creation instead of realizing every minute of the day, how blessed and lucky they are. I mean, people look at me. It's so sad. I mean, you had such a great career. You had so much money, and now you have nothing. And it's not true. I live in the Cherokee National Forest, in a beautiful spot, and um, you know, my best friend is a bunny. And that's nature. And the Chinese say that nature doesn't mean anything. It's not important. Or but see, Chinese are always interesting culture because they say whatever they say, it's kind of the opposite. Like one of the biggest curses, mate, live in interesting times. Well, right now we're living in interesting times. In China, it lost its real. It had to be beaten into submission because its culture and its economics and its everything was, when Europeans were running around in rags, the Chinese had sailboats as big as our aircraft carriers. They had sailed all over the place, way before recorded history, and they understood what was going on. And so they came back, and Buddha realized that the best thing you could do is be self-contemplative, right? Not rush around and have big armies and wars and businesses in conflict.
And CT, I'll put it closer. You need extra margin. You may need that.
Right.
How about that? That place you heard about? Didn't work out.
Already sold.
Really? Kidding me?
Sold in 3 days.
Virginia?
3 days. Yep, Abington, Virginia.
Is your mom still around?
Yeah,
Did you put in my order?
I'm sure she did. It's coming up.
Yeah, it was sold in 3 days.
Can I
Didn't
take
even
this
come
up?
No.
look at it.
No.
No.
Okay.
You can take that away.
Okay. Sold in 3 days. Well,
What
Well-
sold? You had property that you sold in 3 days?
you want some more coffee?
Yes.
No.
Piece of property I wanted to buy,
Right.
sold in 3 days.
Oh, you mean sold out from underneath your? No,
take
butter,
that?
butter. Like you want to bring me more butter?
All right. Sure thing. That's better?
Yep. And then
This is better.
I'll
This
take
is
that too.
better.
I'll take both of those.
Okay, that lid, you want me to take it?
Yes. No.
Okay, sorry, Al.
Take
Take that.
and
And
refill
take.
my
I got
coffee.
you, honey. Yes, sir. I got you. All right. Sure thing.
Yeah, they sell them before I can look at them. Before I can even, by the time I find out about them, they're sold.
The rich folk do that, eh?
No, but see, I go on the real estate listing.
Right. They buy
And
it.
it says, are you interested? So I push the button, I'm interested. Then it automatically sends me an email. We will be in contact with you, right? And then in a couple of hours, somebody contacts me and they ask me all the stuff that I put on there the first time, name, address, email, everything. And then they go, well, I'm an expediter. I'm not a real estate agent. I'm going to put you in touch with somebody who can sell you the property, right? So then 3-4 hours later, or the next morning, I get another email that says, we're so happy you're interested in this
So
property.
how many times has this happened to you?
I've been doing this for 4 years.
And how many times has this been sold out?
Hundreds.
Okay, so, Floyd said if you do the same thing over and over, what does that mean? You're nuts, right? So my question to you is, why don't you go do what the expediter does and go see who's got something before they list it? Like me, I have a piece of, what kind of property are you looking for?
See, I
What do you need? Why do you want to buy property? For yourself, or do you want to do
I need
something?
a place to live.
Okay. What is your budgetary limit?
It depends on the property.
Okay. So I have a piece
I'd
of
love to buy $1 million house for $100,000.
right. Well, that's
I
not
would
going to
live
happen.
in $1 million house if somebody gave it to me.
Right. Well, that's not going to happen.
Can I get anything to get you started other than what's there? All right, you enjoy.
Right.
Now, Alan, we'll get you on your feet.
So that's not going to happen.
No, but I mean, I don't know any other way to buy a piece of property.
Well, like I just said, if you go around and like I have a piece of property that is in a defunct gated community, right? And it's just up the road on 321 between Butler and Boone, right?
Yep.
I'm just on the border of North Carolina, and I have 4 acres, right? And this gated community is defunct, so the HMO doesn't exist. They can do, and that Johnson County has no building department. You can do
Yeah, I know all that.
anything you want, right? So the water, the electricity, I cleared the space. So I have 4 pads. You could build $1 million house. Right? I have a separate garage / cabin / big deck covered. So I'm looking to sell that. And some moron bought. So there's I don't know, maybe 30 lots there, and there are 4 that someone's built something.
Bought you a new lid.
Right. Thank you. And one of the problems, one of the problems of that,
Do you have enough cream?
I have everything.
There's 3.
Yes, I do.
I'll bring more napkins and mop that off. Shoot. Well, I'll bring you another.
Right. Okay.
It's okay. I'll bring you another.
Is everything good? So far, so good? Good.
So yeah, they have really good barbecue here. So so I have this beautiful lot, and I've really sculpted it beautiful. It's the best lot in the whole place because it's flat. All the rest are like on a cliff. So why no one? People bought all these things back in the '80s, just looking at the pretty picture. And once they got there, they realized their properties like this. So
Yeah, I know.
right.
I've been looking at a lot of them.
So like those morons, Eagles Nest people who made that big thing on the end of the lake over near, what's the name of that place? Starts with a P. Anyway, right over there near Dry Run, in Greg's Branch. Anyway, they bought the end of the lake, but there is no view. They obliterated the forest. They built about 70 lots that are like this.
Yep.
Has no water, no septic, no electric. And they sold them all for the lots for $200,000 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
The people from God knows where might have been God,
California.
and they didn't even look at it. I mean, they saw the pretty picture. And there is no real view, meaning because it's at the end and the lake kind of goes around this. There is no view of the lake. And there is no real view of, all you get is like on the other side over there is trees. That's it. There is no real view. And these morons bought it. So the guy at the top will put a septic tank here, which will then go into the basement of the people below and home. Right? So that's what you're looking at for around here. So my little property is beautiful. It has everything, kind of a 2,500 gallon septic tank. And I have the water and electricity all over it to each pad, 2.5 service to each pad, water to each pad, and that's why I built my little standalone garage. And it's basically my cabin, but I put a garage door on it so I can call it a garage, so no one would complain. And now people are coming and buying up everything. And the moron who bought the top, he paid $250,000 for the top. It's like really bizarre. Thank you, darling.
You're welcome. And I brought some new silverware napkins too, extra.
Yeah, that's one.
And the lid's right here,
Yeah,
the new one. And vinegar should you need
Yeah,
for
yeah,
your
yeah,
greens. And your ticket. You need anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
You enjoy, okay?
Yep.
We'll have to check on you.
So that's where I am with that, and I'm happy to be there because it's beautiful and nice. And even though the rich people have bought up everything around me, it come. This one guy bought a house on top of the hill, and he can't stop. He can't just sit. And I spent a day once watching a flower come out of the ground and bloom into a flower. I spent the whole day doing it. And that was like one of the best days I've had in a long time. My best friend is a bunny. There's this one bunny who comes and chews. He's on my lawnmower. He eats the lawn, but he doesn't go after my garden. He just eats the lawn. And when I try to explain So what'd you do today? So, oh, I talked to the bunny and read a book. What he's got to be doing something, doing. And his kids run all over that place and turned it into motocross and destroyed everyone else's property. They went down into this farmer's place and went all over his grass, and he came up upset. Going, I sell that grass. Now that you guys roll over, I can't sell it. And that guy from Florida couldn't. Well, I don't care.
He doesn't.
He doesn't. And so all these people coming here going, and I talk to them and they go, well, I'm coming here to get away from. They don't understand that
They brought it with them.
Exactly.
They didn't get away from it.
And they are the thing that they're most upset about. They are it, not somebody else. They are.
I know.
So I just find it quite amusing, right? And so I'm okay being where I am because I paid it off back in the days when I had money. My taxes are like $160 a year. It's no big deal. And, but what's truly interesting, Hampton, it's just like South Side Brooklyn or Compton. I mean, we have the worst meth problem right on that road right there. Right? It's per capita, more crime, more pregnant kids in that high school. If you look at the numbers per capita, this is as crazy or worse. There are more people who died of OxyContin here than anywhere else in the country. And, Jesus isn't saving anybody from that shit,
Yeah, I just got to have a place to live.
Right, okay, so I have a really nice, beautiful place, but I would suggest if you really want that. So right now, all of this started around 2019 and 20. And so far, and I've seen it before, people have gone in the Butler area and said, oh, we're going to develop this, blah, blah, blah. And they basically couldn't do it, and so they left. It's like the place, so I live in a place called Banjo Ridge. You know Banjo Ridge? Yep. That's it. So if you want to come and visit, the invitation is yours. I'm usually there on Saturdays. And so it's
There's property up there for sale.
oh yeah, there's a lot of it. But like I said, it's all on a cliff.
All right. I've been there. I've looked at it.
Right. So did you get down to the dirt road and going down to the bottom? And there's a school bus there. Did you notice that?
I haven't been there in 2 years.
Well, I've been there for 20. That school bus has been there for 15. You drive in from 321, about 0.2 of a mile, and there's a dirt road that goes down. And at the bottom there, at the bog, that's me. And I bought that because nobody wanted it because it was a bog, muddy and yucky. And I cut out, almost a half acre, three-quarters of an acre, all trees out, and put real serious drain at the boggish place. And it's dry. I mean, we had a real gully water last night. Within 40 minutes, I went out there around 10 with no puddle, no nothing. You can do it. It's not hard to do. So I'm ready to go. And I bought that 20 years ago when I was working and had money. And I would be there maybe 6-7 weeks of the year. Some in the spring, some in the summer, some in the fall. In the winter, I'd be down in Florida. And now, I died in 2014 and haven't been able to work since then. And so, in America, no one's rich in America. People think they're rich. They're not.
20 years ago, I was on track to be a millionaire.
Right.
I had houses in Florida, houses in Louisiana, houses in Rhode Island.
Yeah. Then what happened?
2010 economic crash hit.
Right.
And 6 months later, I was living in a car and didn't have anything.
No. That's what people don't realize. They think they own stuff, and really they don't. The bank owns it.
Well, that's why I won't borrow money again.
Right. So I live on my Social Security, after I pay all my bills that I can pay, my money that I can live on is $400 a month.
I live on my social security.
So, but it's very interesting when you don't have much or anything. Really, you can be way more appreciative of what you do than people who have so much stuff that all they can do is be fearful of what's going on. Right?
I bought all that stuff so I could pay it off and have rental income from it for a retirement.
Right. And that worked pretty good. I did the same thing, but I was a little, where I worked, I had observations of what was going on, so I sold everything by 2006, which was where everybody wanted real estate. It was at the top of the market. So I got out.
I was too busy with life. Things were going too well for me to think about that.
Exactly. And that's what happened to my dad. I was taking care of him, and he was a millionaire. And in 1 week, in 2008, he lost 3/4 of his net worth. And it so freaked him out that he died. You know, his net worth was who he was, right? Instead of being who he really was. And he was an interesting, fun kind of guy. So people don't realize we're on this earth not to make money or do any of that. We're here to learn how to love each other. And we're not doing such a good job.
No.
Well, I would suggest that if you're looking for someplace to live, don't do it around here.
I just want to find a place where I can do what you're doing, be left alone.
Yeah, but I'm not going to leave because even though the universe is, basically the Floridian and other morons who are a lot closer than they used to be near me, a mile away, their attention span is so short. When they get on their motorcycles and they zip around and make noise, they can't do it for more than 30 minutes. You may go up and do something else.
Yeah.
I
I live in South Georgia. And I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. So it's in my mind, I'm okay right now, and just that little bit of annoyance is a good thing because it's like that scratch that makes you be more aware of what's going on. And so it enables me. And so Banjo, if you've been there, it's a sawtooth mountain range. That's kind of squished in that 150 acres or whatever that thing is. There's two things on it. So they're on the other side. So I don't really hear them unless they go right by me. And so I have the biggest lot, 4 acres. So I have 2 parts of it that are on the other, way to the other side. So I kind of made paths up there and built a nice little campsite and put a hammock up there. And so whenever they make noise or and all their vehicles are so smelly. They don't keep their vehicles in good shape, so the exhaust is like, they don't care. As long as it runs, so it's just.
You doing good back here?
Yep.
Are those ribs good? Do you like you? Aren't they wonderful? I just love them myself. They're one of my favorite things they make.
Yeah, they have good barbecue here. I think the best in the valley.
They do. Can I get you anything else?
To-go box in the back.
To-go box and what? And
A bag.
Okay, sure. Have you seen Motor Day?
No.
No? I think she'll be back because I think I saw a note on her door.
Right.
She'll be back.
I saw her 2 weeks ago,
Yes.
and she was not feeling too good.
I know. She hasn't been.
No.
She can do some cheering up a little bit, I think.
Well, she I think she likes being miserable because when I try to talk to her, cheer her up, she don't tell me what to do.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Hello. I'll be right with you, sir. We do have apple pie, which is very tasty today.
Oh, they have the best bakery.
And
Lisa's
ice
great.
cream, by the way.
I might even, I have diabetes, so I can't eat too much sugar, but sometimes apple pie I could probably live through. She has this chocolate pie. I can't eat that. It's so sweet, so unbelievable. So that one I have to stay away from. But apple pie, I think I can go for. So where'd you grow up?
Louisiana.
Oh, what part?
It's in the middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere. That's like half of Louisiana.
No, but
It's
it's
the
like-
middle of nowhere.
70 miles from Shreveport,
Okay.
50 miles from Monroe, and about 70 miles from Alexandria.
I got you. I know exactly where you're talking. Middle of nowhere. Off of what river?
There's no really.
There's no water. There's no water.
There's a big creek there, and that's it. Creek and a paper mill. Population of the town was 200.
Right. Oh, paper mills have destroyed the South.
We don't even. You can't even find this place on a map.
Right. Yeah. I back in the '70s, I used to love going to all of the parishes on the coast. Right. And I had a really good friend who had a really nice building right in New Orleans, right in the French Quarter. And I would go there a few weeks before Mardi Gras and hang out there. And it was more fun to hang with people who were getting ready, making the costumes and the floats. It was way fun to be part of that. And then I would go out to the parishes for Mardi Gras because it wasn't as crazy. And actually, it was much more old school and more better music and no tourists and stuff like that. So I love New Orleans. And I love Mississippi. And
I grew up about almost 325 miles away from New Orleans.
Right. Well, that's probably good. And I went there. So my friend had this place, and I was working for Habitat. And when Katrina came in, he said, "Oh man, we need you down here." So I did. So where I was in Virginia, we built 6 complete houses. And we built them on top of flatbed trailers, and the union guys were going to truck it down for free. Right? These were real houses, right? And we had it set so all you had to really do, they were, we could slide them off these trailers. All you had to do is make a pad, not even concrete, just stone, and put it there, right? And later on, we had so you could jack this thing up and put a basement or a real foundation on it. But this was soup to nuts house, everything in it. When we got there, thank you, darling.
Mm-hmm. And here's the bag.
Yep.
I'll put it on here too, okay?
Yep. When we got there, the FEMA wouldn't let us put them down. We already had places for them, churches. We had done it all with the people on the ground, and FEMA wouldn't let us do it because we didn't do it through them, and it wasn't up to their spec. And they wanted people to live in these crappy little trailers that they would die of the chemicals on the inside.
Yep.
And ours was like a real house, and so they wouldn't let us just drop them where we wanted to. And when we went to, we said, "Screw it, we're just going to do that," and then let the church and those people deal with it. And when we got there, FEMA was there with machine guns.
Oh, yeah.
And said, "We're going to shoot you if you drop that." And the union guy said, "Hey, we don't want to deal with it." So they said, "Where should we take it?" And they had us take it to where the dump was and drop them on the dump.
Yep.
And then the people who were desperate for houses were going to live in them anyway. And they got arrested and put in jail for years. It was like the most bizarre, amazing thing. I kind of documented it and wrote a thing about it, about saying to America, "Hey kids, this is what's going to happen to you. You better wake up."
That's why I got to be careful where I buy a piece of land.
Right. Well, like I said,
If I got any kind of government involvement, they're not going to like me.
Well, that's why
bought that because it was in no man's land. And I was making pretty good money. I was living in Flag Pond. I had a really beautiful place in Flag Pond, right on top of the mountain. You could see almost the ocean. It was an amazing sight. And one day I was driving down and I saw this guy who I knew, and he was in a bunny suit, like space suit, and he had a brand new Ram pickup truck with a big flatbed trailer, and he had a front end loader, and it was all full of 55-gallon drums with nuclear symbols on it, right? And he was burying it. There's that factory in Irwin that makes nuclear fuel, right? Well, it cost them legally to get rid of those barrels of radioactive waste. It cost them almost 20 grand a barrel.
They didn't get rid of it.
So they
They just
basically
relocated.
they gave it to he took it away. They paid him $5 grand a barrel, which is a lot less than 20. And he just went up to Flag Pond and dug a ditch and put him in there. And when I got there, I didn't live up there because it was just so beautiful. I put my school bus up there. I would come up there and I'd bring bottled water and shit in the woods like a bear, figuring out when I was going to, where my water's going to come from. What am I going to do? I put a septic line in. I got some stream water so I could flush the toilet. So I had a flushable toilet, and I had this nice, cabin I kind of built. It was kind of there. But when I came down and saw that guy, and I knew who he was. And when he came to his truck and took off his spacesuit, I said, "Larry, what are you doing?" And he was like, and basically everyone on that hill was dying of cancer. Even he was, and his family was, and his mother had died. Meaning he's poisoning his own family and himself, but he was so addicted to that $5 grand a barrel that he couldn't give it up. And that's when I drove out, and that was it. That was not going to be took my bus out of there and brought it over here. Anyway, my banker was in Irwin, and I went in and said, so what do you guys have on your books that you want to get rid of? And he went through all these. He said, oh, there's this place over here. There's nobody there. You'll love this. It's right near a big lake. It's called Banjo Ridge. And I bought that for like $6 grand. Right? And I had the cash. I was just going to sign a check. He said, no. I'll give you, a 30-year mortgage. You pay it for 2 years. Put money into this account. I can take it out. Then after 2 years, you'll have great credit. And he was right. And then he told me this car branch spanking new from his cousin, the Kia guy in Kansas City. And again, did the same thing. I could have paid cash for it, but the guy said, no. We're going to give you a car loan and you pay it off in 2 years. And he did. So I had ridiculously good credit. That's why I bought all that real estate. I was trying to be like Warren Buffett. You know how Warren Buffett made all his money?
Starting early.
No, well, that's true. He started in the 50s. But what his philosophy is this thing called buy, borrow, die. So you buy something, and then you borrow on the asset, and then you spend the money. And when you borrow, you don't pay taxes on money you get that you borrow. And so he just bought more and more assets.
I did that until 2010.
Right. Yeah, well, you got to know how to do the two-step, how to get around it. Otherwise, it'll eat you alive. And you got to be Warren Buffett that has more money than God. I didn't quite have more money, and I knew I wasn't well-to-do. I mean, I knew I wasn't rich. I just was living a rich man's life. That killed me, basically. Well, since you know where Banjo is, you should come visit, sit on my porch, we'll talk some more.
Well, I hadn't been there in a long time.
So it's right on 321.
I'm driving that big white box truck.
Okay. So do you know, what's his name over here who sells big white box trucks? He's the guy who sells wood right there. He has a thing for big box trucks. So are you living in your big white box truck?
Yeah.
So was I. I had one of those. I had a bread truck.
That's a bread truck.
Oh, really? Oh, gotta get up. Yeah, it is a bread truck. Yeah, that's it. I had exactly, not exactly that, but exactly that in the 70s and 80s. Yeah. You got it all mapped out on the inside? Yeah. You got a comfy bed? Yeah. That's all that matters, comfy bed.
I'm gonna pay for my lunch.
Well,
Well, like that.
Okay, you take your lunch. I'm not going anywhere. I have an appointment at 2, so I'm not going anywhere till then.
I'm waiting on a dozen real estate agents to call me back.
Ah, okay.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed your meal today.
I'm not done with this.
Okay, and have some apple pie.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm gonna have some kind of ice
What, right now?
cream. Yeah, well, in like 3 minutes.
Do you want your apple pie warmed up? And then-
Yes.
Okay.
And then it'll be perfect.
All right.
That'll be all done, and then I'll have this area cleaned. So, this is brunch with Sensei Al Bob, and I had a nice conversation with my fellow luncheon. Yum, yum, yum. So, we haven't had any hurricanes yet because of El Nino. And we've had a lot of droughts, right? And we've had a lot of things of that nature. And but what we are going to have is hurricanes along the East Coast from Texas, Gulf of Mexico all the way up. Texas is going to get really hit. Mississippi's going to get really hit. Florida's going to get really hit. But the East Coast is going to have hurricanes. Well, from October till February. So during when you have a hurricane during the winter, it's called a northeaster. And so we're going to have something of that nature. And since it's been like Ireland here. It's been raining. Everything's green. We're going to have one heck of a wild, beautiful fall, because when you have it really hot and really rainy, and then the fall shows up, that's when you get some serious color. So that's what we're going to have. Should be fun. I'm going to enjoy it. And if my supposition of the weather is that our winter won't be as crazy. Virginia's going to get whacked, so I don't know about going to the school and where I'm going to go, right? How I'm going to go. Right? So that is going to be my mainstay. There we go.
If I see you again, what range are you looking for? Cross range. And if I see anything, I'll let you know.
That's kind of the whole thing. It's like, if I spend all the money I got on the place, if the light bulb burns out, I can't even buy a light bulb.
Your number, I can give you a call if you like, and I'll tell you that. I'll send you a text.
There it is. See, I'm all ready.
Okay.
Perfect timing.
So there's
Yep.
that.
I'll put it on the card.
Okay, that'll be fine. You got a pen?
Yeah, we're good.
I gotta be quick. I mean, I would really prefer to have like,
Some money left to work on or do whatever you need to do.
I'm on Social Security
Have a seat anywhere you'd like, and I'll be right with you.
and I have medical problems. I have growths in my eye and I need eye surgery. And if I spend all the money on the house, I can't get my eye.
I understand, I do. I'm so sorry.
So, buddy, I'm in the same thing with you. I mean, I died when I was in 2014. I was weighing 460 pounds.
That's a lot.
Because I was working for the corporate world, right? I was living like desperate lawyers, right?
You were working for what?
The corporate world.
Oh, I'm 50% deaf or more in this ear, so I sometimes have a hard time when
Right,
there's noise on
and
the
I
other
have no
side.
teeth, so sometimes when I have food in my mouth, you can't hear what I'm saying. Anyway, long story short, the only kind of health care you can get in America is when you are really poor.
Yeah.
So if you are designated really poor, then you can get some health care. Even around here, Tennessee has the worst health care because they wouldn't sign up for Medicaid or Medicare or any of that. So poor people. And the only people, I mean, you really have to be poor. I mean, I make $7,000 a year. So I'm poorer than poor people. But I don't feel poor. I don't act poor.
I don't either, but see if I can buy this piece of property.
Right?
That's the point of buying this piece of property.
Mm-hmm.
It's to clear my bank account out.
Right. So you can be poor. Well, the other thing is, I'm ready to sell this thing, or I would hold the paper. Meaning you could give me whatever you could afford as earnest money and pay me X every month, and then you'd have a nice place.
So what are you wanting for the place?
Well, I start high and go to wherever, right? So the high, when the rich man, I want this, 242,000. That's not going to happen. So I'm basically ready to sell or whatever. Like I said, earnest money down, whatever you can afford, and then for $200 to $400 a month, and you can live there.
Well, my goal is to get rid of the money in the bank
Well, there you go.
and get the best piece for me,
Mm-hmm.
not the best piece for somebody who's looking at what it's worth
Right.
or all this other stuff, but the best place for me
Okay.
to have a quality life,
Well, then
which
you
means being able to do what I want and
Right.
build things with my skills that I have and not be against zoning people.
Right. So this place is perfect because there is no building department. There is no anything.
That's the one reason I like this area. That's why I've been looking in this area so long.
Right.
But the person you have to worry about more than the building department is the neighbor.
Right. Well, that's the other thing. I have no neighbors. So you can't beat